You know how they say good day in Spanish? Buendia. And today has in fact been a very good day for Aston Villa Football Club and its supporters. You see the rumors, you get excited. Even when Percy tweets it out, you know it's a done deal. You're pretty pumped. But when the club makes it official and unveils a record signing, just the latest in a string of them, it really is something special. I mean, this is a player who was by far the best in the championship last year, and he was pretty darn good statistically in the Premier League the year before. And now he's an Aston Villa player, the perfect player for this club and this system. So I want you to grab something really nice tonight, say a Bowmore 15, for example, and let's celebrate and dissect the capture of Emiliano Buendia. Welcome inside the parlor. It's nice to have you from wherever you're watching around the world, my fellow Villa fanatic. What exciting times this is. Not just a great record signing capture for the third season in a row after Ollie Watkins and Wesley, but it still feels like there's business to be done. And knowing Aston Villa and the way they're going about things, it's going to get done early. Although I'm not sure if I'm having the rumors we've heard just over the last couple of days here. But today's about Emiliano Buendia. What a signing. But why? Why is it such a brilliant signing? Well, that's the subject of today's Holy Trinity. And we must start with an honorable mention to agent Emi Martinez, who, during his time with the other Emi in the Argentine national team camp, somehow helped convince him to join the Claret and Blues, and perhaps selfishly, because now Emi Martinez has a guest for the basement suite. You know, little Emi is going to go sleep on Big Emi's pullout down in the guest room. So by my count, that makes it 4 times in 10 months that Emi Martinez has had a hand in blanking Arsenal. And I guess that's my second honorable mention, is the fact that Buendia came to Aston Villa despite a lot of linkage and speculation around Arsenal. And to me, this is a very significant thing because this demonstrates beautifully the difference between a strategic and long-term planning football club and a club that seems to react to things. Aston Villa have 2 owners who have a very clear vision. They go and they hire the best people they possibly can and then let them do their work. On the other side, in London, it feels like you've got absentee owners. And I know that for a fact because the Colorado Rapids are owned by Stan Kroenke and they're a line on a spreadsheet. He has no interest in them. And so there's no active strategy. It doesn't seem like there's a plan. It just seems like the club reacts to things. Oh, that's a good player. Well, let's go after them. Whereas Villa took a very strategic approach. And I'm going to get into that as we get into the top 3 here. But that's a big statement. Aston Villa attracting a player that was potentially sought by a London club, one of these so-called super clubs. And perhaps this is a bit of a tipping point in the evolution of these 2 clubs, with one on the rise and the other one either flatlining or regressing. Right, so here we have the number 3 reason why it's a brilliant signing. It offers Jack Grealish some relief. And by the way, do not believe all this nonsense that Jack Grealish is leaving Aston Villa for somebody else. He is staying and he is playing with the new Villa capture. I think everybody knows that when an opponent prepares for Aston Villa and you go into their change room, the number 1 thing it says on the tactical board is stop or deny or slow Jack Grealish. And that's easy to do if he's the only one in the team that poses a threat. You remember earlier this year, Ross Barkley was posing a threat. He was fresh, he was lively, he looked rejuvenated. And because of that, it was difficult to just key solely on Jack Grealish. I also think teams didn't really respect Ollie Watkins just yet. So you have to keep him in mind as well, because he's obviously a threat, and those two had a great relationship. But imagine now you've got Jack Grealish on one side or in the middle, and Emi Buendia on the other side or in the middle, or they exchange positions, as both are very willing to do. Well, now it becomes a much more difficult prospect to either double or triple one of them. And I said on our last show that I think Jack Grealish is more of a problem for the opponent when he's in the middle of the field, because you can't seal him off against the touchline, and you can't double or triple him in the middle of the field, or you risk having spaces on either side. This is a wonderful prospect for Villa and their fans, because now you have two players that can do things on their own. They can combine. They could play a long ball. They could play short. They could run with the ball. In fact, these two players are among Europe's elite in terms of driving the ball forward, whether that's through passing or running. So how do you prepare for that as an opponent? And remember, when Ross Barkley got injured, Villa wasn't quite the same, were they? Because it was more easy to key in on Jack Grealish. Not to mention the fact, and touch some wood somewhere, that if Jack Grealish has a flare-up with his current injury or something else comes along, you have a natural replacement for him. And I don't think that you'll see the drop-off that we saw when he was injured during the second half of last season. The second reason why I think this is a brilliant signing is because it demonstrates not just Villa's intent, but their thoughtful and strategic approach to almost everything they're doing right now. There is no way that this signing could have been pulled off so quickly at the start of the window unless there was some kind of initial courtship with Norwich City Football Club. And you remember Dean Smith said a couple of times that a lot of groundwork has already been done in preparation for this summer window. Now, I don't know what happened, and I have no insights to it, but this is my assumption. Obviously, you can't talk to the player or their agent, but club can talk to club, whether that's at the sporting level director or the executive level or even the ownership level. And I think sometime in around March, after the winter window had closed, Aston Villa approached Norwich and said, listen, this is a player we've had our eyes on for a very long time. He fits the profile precisely of what we're looking for in our system, and we have the data to support it, and we've watched him for a very long time. And we are prepared to make a fair market or above fair market offer for this player. What we don't want is a protracted situation, and we don't want to be used as a leveraging tool to get into a bidding war with other clubs. We are prepared right now to tell you that we are committed to making a record fee offer for you and for us. And so if you're Norwich, now you're thinking, okay, there's either the bird in the hand or the two in the bush, and in the economic and the conditions in the world, perhaps that turned them, and they said, you know, we need this player to play in the Premier League. However, we're also a selling club. We have to sell to make our buys. And when you lay the groundwork there, that means that Norwich can now prepare themselves for the transfer window, because they know that they'll have that income from the sale. And I just love this approach. And of all the things that, if this is how it went down, of all the things Aston Villa fans should be excited about, it is this kind of thing, because that is a very thoughtful, professional, confidential, and respectful approach. I can't see any other way how this could have happened. It just happened too fast at the beginning of the window. And to me, when you look at how they're doing their business, and there's more to come by the looks of it, compared with, say, the Randy Lerner years, or how about the guy after, who goes out and buys Ross McCormack and then like a week later buys Jonathan Kodja, like just collecting footballers with no plan, no system, no analytics to back any of it up. And that's why I'm so excited about this particular signing, and why I think Aston Villa as an entity is going to garner a lot of respect in the football world over the coming years. And the number one reason why I think this is a brilliant signing is that Emi Buendia has world-class potential. He's 24. He's not even a full-time member of the Argentine national team yet. One of the things that data and analytics departments are tasked with is not just identifying what the current market value should be for an offer, but what it could be in 2 to 3 years. And I think this player could easily be a £60 million player within just a couple of years. What I'm interested in, though, is it Dean Smith's eyeballs that have been watching Buendia for these last 3 years and determined, that's the exact type of player we need in our squad and our system? Or did the data and analytics behind Buendia from these last 3 years put him on the radar in the first place? I'm very curious about that because philosophically, that's an important point. And I think this is the best thing about Aston Villa. Dean Smith has a track record with eyeballs and instinct, and they're very heavily into the data part of the game. But the one thing that you notice when you watch Emi Buendia highlights over and over again is how two-footed he is. And because of that, watch how many times he sits down opponents, sits down midfielders as he pivots. And what about defenders? When a player is that two-footed, how do you know where to show him when he's bearing down on you in the box? In fact, let's go to the Subbuteo table and I'll show you what I mean. So here's Buendia bearing down on you and you're a central defender and you're thinking, well, if I show him to what I think is the weaker left, he's going to shoot. And if you decide to take away the inside and show him on his right foot, he's just going to go here and cause all sorts of problems where he does quite regularly score or set up goals. Listen, you don't need me to tell you what an exciting and significant signing this is. And thankfully, as a Canadian, we get DAZN and I get to watch at least 3 championship games every week. And Norwich was featured a lot. And when they weren't, there was the highlight review show. So I got to see Emi Buendia an awful lot. And that's why I am so excited, because of what he is going to bring to Aston Villa Football Club, a completely different dynamic. And it feels like the club's not done yet. We could have another signing within a week. So lots to look forward to, and congratulations to the club for all the work they did behind the scenes to get this done so quickly. Please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, up the mighty Villa.